Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marnise Nicole and I'm an acrylic painter, and finally I'm sitting down to film everything I painted in 2021. This is something that is going to be a full series for me every year. I want to reflect on everything I painted for the year, and I want to just kind of sit back and look at how my style has evolved. A lot about why I have this channel here, why I make these videos, is because I've been tracking my progress as an artist to see what I'm into, what I liked, what I didn't like, and kind of having this as a point of reference, and also to share my artist progress with all of you. And so for 2021, I painted 11 paintings. And so let's jump right into it. So to start off with, I really want to talk about this self-portrait that I did in the middle of the year. This is not my first painting that I did, and it's definitely not the last one. It was somewhere in the summertime, I think, and it's based off a TikTok filter where I thought I would go ahead and explore filters and self-portraits and kind of make that work for me. But this is my least favorite painting so far this year. I often find painting self-portraits a little intimidating because firstly, it's the most realism that I actively step into when I'm painting a self-portrait, because I'm trying to represent my face, and I don't paint realism often not realistic portraits at all. And so doing this painting was hard, even though it didn't take as much time as nearly any other piece that I did in 2021. It was the hardest for me, and I still don't quite feel like it looks like me. Like, it kind of looks like me if I'm jazzed up a little bit, but and it gives Marnise vibes for sure. But also, this is a painting that I did that really didn't have a lot of color attached to it. There's some greens in the nails and the glasses, but it's very monotone, which is different for me. And it's not that I don't like the monotone, but I don't not like it either. So I wanted to go ahead and start with this one because I don't want to see this in my collection. I very much intend to repaint over this. And with that in mind, this is also the smallest painting that I did in 2021. I think it's over for me in small paintings. Like, I'll work in my sketchbook, which are, I think they're 9 by 12s or 8 by 11s or something like that. Like, I'll work in them if I have to. I enjoy sketchbooking now. When I do digital art, and there will be everything I painted digitally coming up shortly, but when I paint digitally, even though the screen I'm working on is smaller, the type of canvas that I can get is big. I can stretch it out, I can zoom in, but yeah, this size doesn't work for me anymore. This is a 10 by 10, and I need big. I am going to be painting my villain origin story on this canvas, and it's big. So apparently I love big things. So let's move on to the next one, which is a gallery edge rep canvas, and I love this canvas. The actual canvas itself didn't need that much gesso. It's just a really well done canvas, and I will definitely purchase from this brand again, although right this second I can't think of who the brand is. So that's unfortunate, but I'll see it when I rewatch this video. And yes, there is a full painting time-lapse of this video on my channel, which you all really loved last year. It did very well as far as my painting videos go, but this was the first thing I painted in 2021, and you see the vibe? Very sad, very stressed out. I wanted to capture emotions, and I feel like I really did. And this really is a staple of the style that I have for most of the year. Focused on the figure and the character and the emotions, a captured moment, which is something I'm always trying to paint. And while this is not as colorful as I typically paint, it still plays with color and showcases a Black woman. I had a lot of trouble painting this, especially the hands, because I'm not as well developed in my sketching and drawing skills, and of realistic paintings, as we just mentioned, but I still feel like I came off with a great representation of what I wanted to capture. This invokes some type of emotion. You see frustration and weariness and overwhelmedness, and after coming through 2020, this is definitely a representation of like the mood that the world was in. So I'm really glad that I was able to capture it. And this is the first time I kind of worked on this size canvas, like this kind of rectangle shape. I like it. I like it for specific types of concepts and compositions. I've played with it a few times and it's been wrong. So I'm glad that I kind of figured out over the year kind of how I like this canvas to be if I am going to work on it. So this might be my favorite painting up next. This is called Manifesting. There we go. Manifesting. She's manifesting. She is my favorite figure, and this also has a video. It'll be linked up above and down below if you want to check it out. This painting I love because it's so relaxed and it's so indicative of something I would be doing. And the whole point of me painting, especially focused on Black women, is because I want to see myself, my family members, my sister, my mom, my grandparents. I want to see them represented in art. I want to see my friends represented in art. I have a friend, Natalie, and I could just imagine her in this pose with her hair wrapped up, chilling and journaling. I can imagine it. I can see that. And I want to feel seen when I see my work. I want other people to glance at it and feel seen. So anyway, this was a painting that really represented myself. Like I see myself in this painting. And so we have that. I love the color choices. I don't often use green in my work unless it's to indicate a forest or landscape of some kind, but not ever just generally in a figurative piece. And I love that I could bring that color in. And this is a green oxide that I absolutely love the color for. But I was glad that I could bring it into my work and not feel like I have to throw away the colors that I love just because I'm no longer working in kind of landscape settings, you know? So we have that. The next couple of paintings all basically took place on and off over the spring and summer. These paintings were happening while I was finishing my last year of my master's program. And that's important here because I was having a big struggle on finishing these pieces. I would start one, I would come back to it, I would repaint the painting multiple times until it's finished, and then I wasn't necessarily happy with all my figures even now. And so that was something I had to realize, that I was balancing too much. And so that's when I wasn't not making as many videos or making as much art. And so even though I did 11 paintings for the whole year, it kind of felt like slimmed down a little bit. Usually all my prior years I would paint in one session, maybe 4 or 5 hours straight, and then finish a piece. And so every feeling and emotion that I have, because I'm very mood painter and a mood person in general, everything would kind of fall into the painting at once. If I had to come back and do some finishing elements, it would usually be the next day or a couple of hours later. Versus these 4 paintings where I worked on them on and off for 3 or 4 months each, back and forth, and it would be weeks in between painting sessions. And so they were never really given my full immediate emotions into the piece. And I still think they came out great. Well, 3 of them out of the 4 I think came out great. And I finally got to that moment where I knew it was finished and I wanted to sign it, because I do not sign my paintings until they're officially finished, because I will have a habit of coming back to them. But even though they did all end up finished, there were so many points where I had painted them to a part where I loved, but then took 3 or 4 weeks, and now I'm coming back to it and I repainted all of it because I didn't have that same feeling with them. And so if you've ever struggled with that, I'd love to have a discussion about it in the comments, because I didn't know that that would be a thing for me, having weeks between painting sessions. I didn't know that that would affect me as much. And honestly, I didn't realize it then. It wasn't until reflecting and looking back at my work and I'm like, I hate these paintings because they took so long. But they look nice, but I can't take breaks. I need to finish my paintings in like a couple of days while I still have all of those emotions fresh. That's what it was. The emotions weren't fresh anymore as I continued to work past my idea. So anyway, let's show those paintings. This painting, I started recording a time lapse for it and it went everywhere. And I painted this. I think this figure changed 4 times, and there was one point where I loved it. And I'll of course link the video that relates to this. And then I painted past it. And I still like where it came out, although it's nowhere near as comparable to the original concept. It took a little darker edge, but I still appreciate this piece. So we have this one. This one is unnamed, so if you have a name, definitely share it with me. This painting I absolutely hate. I painted over something that I hated. Well, I didn't hate the original piece that this looked like, but I did paint it in anger, and so I repainted this, and I wasn't in anger. I was very calm, but I still don't like the composition. I love the figure, but the overall composition and the background, specifically this blue sky, I don't appreciate at all. So this will probably get painted over eventually. So there's that. We have this painting, which is my favorite of the 4. This is a forest painting, and I did actually get to finish this in about a week's time, other than going back and forth if I should add one more element, and after talking to my grandmother, I scrapped the idea. But this is the piece. I love this, and I especially love how it came out in my coloring book. If you haven't seen that video, I did make a coloring book for my grandmother of my artwork with my friend Faye from Constant Creates, and that is linked up everywhere, so you can check that out. So I love this piece. And then something I found is that TikTok really inspired my work all throughout the year. This is based on a TikTok of a girl at a diner cafe place drinking mimosas, and I was like, I want to paint that but in Paris. So we did that, and I like how her earrings came out. I repainted her face 6 times. The outfit is colorful, but it's not how I originally planned it because I spent 4 months on this painting, and so it wasn't a fresh idea by the time I finished it. And so I have setbacks in my head about it, but we have that. The next 2 paintings I painted this fall, and I actually finally finished with most of my classwork. I finally was definitely not as stressed as I was over the summer, and so we got some good pieces out of it. This is my black girl luxury piece. I have her trying on some heels from a just now shopping experience, and I really love the color combos. Again, I brought in that green of mine, which I think is my favorite color of 2021. Even though I did gesso the canvas and so I had to repaint elements a couple of times, I'm learning to just over gesso more than I think I need, because if I'm buying cheaper canvases, I'm going to have issues if I don't gesso the canvas. But we did it, we got it done, and I love this piece. I especially love her expression and like the opulence she's like portraying, because I want that for me. I want that for us. I want that for everybody. So we did that piece, and then I worked on, it's something that actually the pink canvas that's behind here was the original start of that piece, and I painted over it and gessoed it and restarted it on a new canvas size because I'm starting to really focus on my actual painting tools. So the shape of the canvas and how that plays with the composition. I started on this really long rectangle canvas for this concept, but the canvas itself and the shape of it was really messing up the narrative of the concept that I had in mind, and the composition wasn't fitting on this canvas. And so I redid it. I gessoed that canvas and I started over with this, and I love how it finally came out. We have a black fairy and a girl and a cave full of diamonds, and really, what more of a concept do you need than that, right? It was the first time I painted any type of crystals or stones. I really kind of stick in my element with like items of a background. I don't really paint animals. I don't really paint like objects a lot. I usually focus on a figure, and I've really been trying, at least with these last couple of paintings starting in the fall, to expand past what I would be comfortable painting and just try new things. And I love how the stones came out. I can definitely do better in the future if I revisit this concept, but for a first time painting jewel stones and diamonds and that, I think I did pretty good. So, and then we have the last two paintings of the year. You would have seen videos last week about these. The first is my black ballerina painting, which is this long canvas right here, and it shows all of the different stages of ballerina's kind of career and journey. We have her doing solos and group performances, doing stretching and like overly ballerina-esque things. We have them contemplating, we have them warming up, and we have them under spotlights. And this is very colorful, and it's again an interesting canvas shape. Like if you turn it this way, I really played with rectangle canvases this year, and I really like it. So this was something fun, and I'm glad I got it finished. I actually started this right before the end of the year. I like started this on the 25th or something, as I was telling myself I wanted to finish all of my other projects that were pending. And so I started this fresh, and I got it done. And again, that's where I'm saying, if I have a shorter painting session time, it's when I have the most fun with a piece and the most success with it. And so this is also a new painting concept for me as far as the layering of the painting. As you can see, there's really kind of this scattered type of storytelling. It's kind of like a patchwork. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moments all separate, but it's all been combined in this kind of layering thing. And it's a style that I got from my final painting, which of course has to be my #1 painting of the year, right? Because I spent 7 months on it from concept to completion. And that is my black opera painting right here. Let me move out of the way so you can see more of it. This painting from concept took months and months and months. Originally I started in the springtime, and I was like, oh, this will be a great summer project. Let me get all of the ideas out, and I'll work on 8 different canvases and have a whole like gallery moment with it, right? That did not happen. It wasn't until September, and again, this is after I'm finishing my last classes in my master's program. I was very distracted that I even remembered that I started off with these concepts. So I printed them out, I cut them up, and then I kind of patchworked all of these ideas on one canvas. And this was the start back in September of me patching these all together, that I came up with this kind of weave storytelling idea for my paintings. And I love this. It's a natural progression of what kind of work I already do. It plays still with colors and patterns and like texture, and it features even more captured moments, which is always what I'm saying is my thing, for people to see. Like there's so many different stories in this. The little girl and her mom watching the soloist having her first moment in solo performance, and you know, expressing that and singing her little butt off. We have her getting ready and not really knowing how it's going to go. We have all of the musicians and the elder woman watching and assisting with the performance, and it's just a great time. I love this piece. It is my favorite. I worked the hardest on this piece, and I'm so glad it's finally finished, because Lord, I literally finished it on December 31st. I was determined to finish this piece by the end of the year. And so a few takeaways. This is my favorite size canvas. I don't know what size it is actually, unless I measure it, because I threw away the paper with the like measurements on it, but it's at least a 36 by something, by 48 if I'm not mistaken. And I'm just gonna give up. I love big canvases. I can work on smaller forms obviously, but I just prefer a bigger canvas. I love color, and I love all of these like little figurative drawings coming together into one painting. And a lot of this year I worked digitally, and I had a lot of digital paintings that I'm going to be showing off in my next video. But being able to kind of plan the patchwork really helped with this. So I think I'm going to lean more into the planning process of my paintings using Procreate. So yeah, my favorite paintings, everything that I painted this year, that is that. And so thank you so much for watching. My name is Marnise Nicole, and I'm an acrylic painter, and I am out. Bye.